Welcome to Sacred and Sassy Soulpreneur, where we spill the mystic tea and have those conversations about running a spiritual business that no one is saying out loud. I'm your host, Kerrie, and after more than 25 years of running my own spiritual business, I'm tired of seeing spiritual women show up, serve, and not make the income they deserve. Your spiritual gifts are meant to change lives, including yours. And today we are talking with Sarah Cassim about visibility. Now, Sarah is an award-winning business strategist, speaker, media commentator, and community leader who helps organisations and entrepreneurs build influence through authentic marketing, strategic partnerships, and personal brands. As the founder of Sarah Cassim Consulting and Hawkesbury Women in Business, Sarah has spent more than a decade connecting people, creating opportunities, helping businesses grow through truth, storytelling, and genuine community engagement rather than relying solely on paid advertising. Woohoo! Known for her practical insights and refreshing, honest approach, Sarah has worked across industries, including small business, government, not-for-profit, education, and the arts. Her expertise spans marketing strategy, public relations, business development, communications and leadership, with a particular passion for helping people become recognised authorities in their field. A recipient of Hawkesbury Citizen of the Year and Hawkesbury Business Person of the Year, Sarah is a regular MC, keynote speaker, and media commentator, bringing warmth, humour, and thoughtful conversation to every stage and microphone she steps behind. Whether discussing entrepreneurship, leadership, personal branding, community building, or the realities of balancing ambition with everyday life, Sarah is known for turning complex ideas into practical conversations with inspired action. Now, Sarah, you have got an impressive bio, awards, speaker, media and commentator, but tell me the real version. What brought you to this work?
Look, Kerrie, I'm not going to lie, that bio makes me sound a lot cooler than what my kids think I am. That's for sure. But look, the real version. So there's all these wonderful things that obviously sound great on paper, but for me, the real crux of why I do what I do is to humanize business. In short, there's a lot of noise out there, Kerrie. There's a lot of noise, and unfortunately, a lot of that, the business community gets stuck within that noise and the grey noise of hustle culture and all of these things that are happening around us. And it's dehumanizing the business world and the emotions that we have to go through and the barriers that we have to push through. So to answer the question, the real me is the human, the human that I am. And the human that I really do want other business owners and soulpreneurs to be in order to get the best out of their business. And firstly, I will just say as well, thank you so much for having me on this incredible podcast of yours.
Oh, no, when it came to thinking to the topic of visibility, which is our feature right now, you were the first most perfect person that popped to mind. And I know we've had a connection for quite a few years now. And I always love connecting with you. So I know that if I do, other people do too. And I know that I love that we're having this conversation because there is so much noise. And I think for a soulpreneur, it's a little harder to cut through that noise because we've got to balance our guidance, what our soul's telling us to do, around how we're supposed to run a business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so tell me, in your experience working with entrepreneurs, what's the number one reason that people don't show up to be visible, even when they actually know they need to.
I think the visibility component to business and potentially people going into business, it's a big confidence problem. We have a lot of barriers when it comes to actually owning what we feel and what we think, and those opinions that we hold, and the stories that we actually have throughout our lives. I mean, everyone's got a story, everyone's got a point of view on how that they can help put magic into this world, yet we sit behind it because we're worried about what other people think. We worry about saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing or what if, what if, what if. But I'm going to challenge that slightly and say, well, what if you don't? What if you're sitting behind your desk and you're slaving away, say you're working 18 hours when you're starting up, it's a hard slog. But then all of a sudden you're not really moving at the speed that you need to in order to captivate as many people as you possibly can within your mission. Um, that confidence is the number one key that I see from all industry that puts people in an absolute stagnant rut.
And yeah, I've seen that kind of um, rut
Mm,
in, people I've worked with they can be stuck in that kind of rut for years and years. And
mm.
even though they may very well know that if I don't move, there's people I'm not helping,
That's right.
you know, um, that kind of thing can stop. And for a soulpreneur, that's a big motivating factor. That's why we do what we do. We want to help people, but we hold back, and
Hmm. Yep.
it's mutually exclusive to one another.
Yeah, and I think from my experience as well, when it comes to spiritual businesses or holistic businesses as a whole, it doesn't necessarily have to be just a spiritual space. There is so much noise. It is a noisy industry, and everyone that I've spoken to feels that oversaturation. What again I would say to those businesses who are sitting there thinking, well, how do I cut through that noise? Lean into who you are as a human. Lean into who you are and the stories that you have to share, regardless of if you share those particular stories, but really work in your messaging around your actual human experience because that is your unique selling proposition. That's we talk about in business all the time, USP, USP, USP. Find what makes you different. Well, sometimes you have to look inwards to actually fish that out to be able to lean into it, right?
Oh, that is such an important piece of information because being in this space and having been in this space for nearly 30 years, for me, it is just a sea of sameness. Even I, as a consumer, will look and go, oh, yeah, okay, I've heard that before, like,
Yes, yes,
and, and you're right. It is our journeys and it is our storytelling
that's right.
that
Yep.
can stand us out to be different because our gifts may come across the same as everyone else's and how
Yeah,
we're present, the work that we do. But it is our life journeys that actually um, present that uniqueness.
exactly.
And I actually just wrote an article on this and put it out yesterday about the visibility and how, like, as soulpreneurs, we've got to crack our chests open to do that, right? There's a huge level of vulnerability that other businesses don't have to encounter.
Yeah, yeah,
Like to sell candles, you don't actually have to, you know, be sharing that story of how did you come to be. Take me for example. I've really only become really comfortable to share the ins and outs of my business journey in
mm,
recent times.
yeah,
But yeah, it's my business journey that is going to be the differentiator.
exactly. And I think that there's a portion of pride for a number of particularly newer businesses who may be trying to showcase that they may be slightly bigger than what they are, which is absolutely normal. Let's be honest, in the business world, we want that credibility. But the credibility comes with those experiences as well. And I think that once you get to a certain point, it does become a lot easier to share those for your case there, Kerrie, your the wins. And as we've spoken about just previously as well, it's the lessons that you can share with people that will potentially save people years of trial and error in their own business. And that's what I think people need to understand as well. It depends on obviously what they're trying to achieve and what their mission actually is, but how can you use your experience to actually share the word that you are aiming to share?
And I think one of the things that's helped me is recognizing that I'm actually just sharing my journey.
Yeah.
And that's all, and that's what we all do, you know. Like it's not setting ourselves out to be experts. Just share the journey,
Mm-hmm. That's right.
you know.
Not everyone's an expert in everything.
That's
But I
it.
guarantee you, out in your listenership here, there will be people that have their genius zones that they don't even realize that they've got. And
Yes.
it's about really understanding the messaging around those genius zones, and digging deep from that perspective. And then once you tap into that, the visibility stuff actually becomes a lot easier because you need to know what it is that you're talking about. And if you say you go down the traditional media route, they want to know about you, they want to know about your world. But if you don't know about your own world, how are you going to convey that outwards?
Yeah. And that is the key, isn't it? Like really being brave enough and vulnerable enough to dig into your journey and share those stories.
Yeah,
Um, but in a way that it does serve other people,
that's right.
you
Exactly.
know. So I know that when most soulpreneurs hear about PR and public relations, because that's an area that you also work in,
Yeah.
we think big budgets, press releases, media agencies. Can you bust this myth for us? And what
Oh,
does
yes.
PR actually look like for a small spiritual
Oh.
business?
Look, there is so many different ways to utilize PR, and no, you don't need a massive budget. In fact, you don't need a budget at all. You need about 15 minutes a week to be pitching and to be doing those active things towards building relationships with journalists, for instance, or podcast hosts like yourself, Kerrie. You would be a great attribute to a lot of spiritual businesses to get a little bit more of a network around them. There's so many different ways that you can access good PR for completely free. Completely free, so you do not actually physically need a budget. Obviously, if you do put a little bit of money towards particular platforms, that can be quite handy as well. But I mean, if you're looking at a um, a website like Source Bottle, which is, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But the Source Bottle website is basically where you can go and you can pitch different story ideas and different people, journalists are asking questions for your genius zone to actually utilize and put within their articles. That can be free. You can pay a slight fee for that. I think it's like $5 a month to have a more premium view of those particular pictures that you could be putting out there into the world.
I
You
remember if I go back, oh, this may have been like 2012, long time ago, and Source Bottle was around then, and I
Yeah.
was on there, and that's actually how I got an article into like Take Five
Yeah.
magazine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it was called "I Healed a Serial Killer."
Oh, see, that's fun though. That's a fun one. If I was the journalist on the other side, I'd be like, ooh, let me take that. I don't care if that's what I was looking for. I'm going to write about it anyway. That's fun. Um, But yeah, there's so many different ways that you can actually access this style of marketing essentially without a budget,
Yeah.
period.
And that's, being resourceful, it's one of your superpowers for sure.
Oh, how I got here.
Yeah.
But
Ah,
with AI as well, this is something that, and I think we're going to be speaking about this a little bit later as well. But with AI coming into play, I know a lot of people are now just coming to the terms of SEO, but there is so many different things to factor in now. Like a lot of searches are coming through ChatGPT, and they're coming through Claude, and they're coming through Perplexity, and they're coming through all of these platforms now that exist. So we have to be prepared for that as well, because that can be also extremely important for visibility.
oh, you might
Yeah.
have to explain a little more because I'm not grasping exactly how
Yeah.
that relates.
So we've got the SEO aspect for visibility. What SEO is, for those who might not be familiar with that just yet, it's search engine optimization. So that's how Google will take things out of your website and make you visible. That's when you Google something and you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's got the businesses in the area, or whatever you're looking for, and it's ranked. That's how Google will rank you. So that's sort of calculated by the keywording on your website. That's also the blogs that you might have. That might be the questions that Google, that are being typed into Google that
Yep.
relate to your business, and how that's pulled back into that search engine. And then this is where it gets tricky, because we've got GEO and we've got AEO. So these are more to do with the chatbots. So your chat GPTs, and how they are going to recommend you over someone else. And there's a few different things that we can do to optimize that. And Kerrie, I've actually put together a checklist for your listeners if they're interested in that, on what they need to factor in when it
Mm.
comes to optimizing that now. So these little things that you can do to help boost that search, when people do type into ChatGPT, I need a Reiki healer, for instance,
Ah,
then
wow.
that
Yeah.
will help generate your name over others. So yeah, it does get a little bit more complicated than the old just SEO. We need to focus on that when it comes to that other type of visibility. Um, but it's still obtainable from that base level fundamental understanding of how to be found.
Wow. That's not even like I'm a power user when it comes to tech.
Yeah.
Um, and a user of ChatGPT and Claude. But what you just said there about setting it up so that when someone's searching, it's actually pulling you in some way. That's
Yeah.
not even a concept that I thought of.
Yep.
So that's like mind blowing to think that way. And the fact that you're already on it, and I'm sure myself and those that are listening to us will be grateful for that checklist. So it will be in the show. The link to that will be in the show notes. And thank you for explaining about the GEO and the AEO. Like,
Yes, there is a definition on our sheet as well.
yeah.
One is generative, and one is answer engine. So it basically brings it all together. And what's really great about what this, I guess, new era of visibility for that tech side of marketing, is that there's certain things that you can access then for free by optimizing that side of your business. But also, if you're able to secure as many backlinks as possible through articles, and by
Mhm.
taking advantage of those free opportunities that actually exist and are ready, waiting for you, that's going to help with all of those things too. The more backlinks that you have from other websites helps your visibility tenfold.
Yeah. And I think that that's always been a thing, but it must just be even more prevalent these days.
It's
You
definitely
know?
amplified.
Yeah. So, what's the thing about visibility that the business coaching world is not saying out loud?
What are they not saying out loud, Kerrie? Not saying a lot of things. They're not humanizing a lot of the elements that is required. Um, and no hate to the coaching community whatsoever. I think that there needs to be more of an emphasis on the messaging component of what people are putting out into the world. They need to have a very clear mission, a clear mission and a clear objective of what they actually want to get out of that visibility. And just being leads might not be enough of an objective. So actually really exploring that. But it's really, really important that we actually understand what we are talking about, because if what we basically want to do, particularly when you just get started, you want to have maybe 3 talking points and really focus in on those 3 talking points, because otherwise your messaging will start getting blurry and people won't remember you for what you are trying to put out into the world, if that makes any sense. Makes sense in my head. I don't know if this is making sense out loud. You just start talking and
No,
you're like,
I get it. I've
yeah,
been
good,
there.
excellent. But it's one of those things where you have to absolutely know where your genius zone is. So, Kerrie, if you started talking about, um, I don't know, you started talking about something that's irrelevant, but something that you're passionate about at that very moment, then that's actually going to dilute your messaging outward, because people are going to remember you as the soulpreneur coach.
Hmm.
They want to hear about that. That's the Kerrie that they see and is familiar to them. If you started to talk about something that was completely left field, then it's going to dilute the visibility that you actually have, because the people who want to see you as the soulpreneur coach aren't necessarily getting that content. So we have to be mindful of where the line is and what that messaging should actually look like.
Yeah, which is important, I think. I know for me, I've spent quite a number of years um, going round in circles. I think people know that I'm all about spirituality and mediumship and things like that, but um, I often think that I haven't spent enough time just doubling down on something,
Yeah, that's it.
or removing the mask and sharing enough of exactly what's going on for me. And most of that has been in business,
Yeah.
you know. So if I then start talking things like health and fitness, it just, you know,
That's right. It would look weird. It would
yeah,
look weird to the audience, even though that's a part of your journey. But there's definitely ways that you can, if say you decided to become a complete gym junkie, you're smashing the protein shakes, you're getting like massive
yeah.
muscles and you were flexing everywhere. And like I think that would be just hilarious, personally. And like I would enjoy every second of that, but that's not the point,
Yeah.
right? What I'm saying is there's ways that you can weave those things in that doesn't dilute your core messaging.
Yes.
So you can be flexing, maybe flex and then put your message on the muscle. I don't know. There's ways to do it that's
Yeah,
that's still
exactly.
relevant, right?
Yeah. So I know that you've built a community in the Hawkesbury called Hawkesbury Women in Business. I know for me, it's how we met. It was
Yes.
one of when I moved into the Hawkesbury back in during COVID. It was one of the first things that I did was look up the local women in business group. So it's something I deeply believe that as soulpreneurs, um, we need that face-to-face
Yes.
interaction.
Yes.
But in a world obsessed with online reach, why does local and in-person visibility still matter?
Personal relationships will never be replaced. If anything, they're going to strengthen, because We are so entwined in AI. We are going to be forced as a human being with with how we are literally wired. We need human connection. And it's been an interesting journey doing networking events and different events for women in business. We have over 2,200 members in that group now, which is just absolutely phenomenal. But all of these women, as engaged or as much that they might sit in the background and come when they can, or whatever that looks like for them, it's really vital for them to sit face to face and understand the human behind the business. That is our biggest flex, is that we really focus on building those connections and seeing the collaborations that can actually formulate from that. I mean, it's pure magic. You've got people in the same industry doing different things coming together and utilizing each other's network and growing from that perspective. It's really important for any small business, any sole trader, any company, even a small company, to really be focusing in on building those relationships in their local area. But and outwards also. There's nothing that beats word of mouth. That is, I will die on that hill, Kerrie. I'm in this space and I will die on that hill.
And you're right. And especially for a solopreneur business, it is even more important because, like, if you're just going to buy a pair of shoes, for example, like, yes, you want that human interaction, but you don't need to know the sales assistant's life story, right? But for a solopreneur, when what we do and what we offer, and our clients often come to us at vulnerable times in their lives, what they want help with is that deep personal stuff.
Mm.
In all sorts of range, whether it's from a Reiki healer, soulpreneur business coaching, through to trauma, right? It's how we live our lives and presenting as the authentic us
Mm.
is even more, is so important.
Yes.
And that's what face-to-face connections allow for.
Absolutely. And the biggest mistake I see with anyone doing networking within, particularly the Hawkesbury Women in Business culture, it is imperative that they don't go in with a hard sell.
Mm.
It is so important because, I mean, you go in, you try to sell your products to other people in the room, and they just go, "No thanks. Like, I want to know about your dog. I want to know
And
about where are you located. I don't want to know. I don't want to, I want to build that rapport before I make any collaborative deals, essentially."
yeah, and I know for me, when I stepped into Hawkesbury Women in Business, I didn't do that. I just showed up wanting to be part of it
Yeah.
and actually spent money on other businesses first. You
Yep.
know,
That's it.
um, I still have my selenite candle I bought from you.
That's great. Yes, the lamp, they were beautiful. Mine actually broke on our move and I was
Oh.
devastated. But it's split in perfect half. So I've made it sort of it's in the garden now. I didn't want to get rid of it. It was too pretty.
So, Sarah, if someone's listening today and they're, a healer, a spiritual coach, a psychic, and they've actually been hiding, what's the single most important first step towards visibility they could take this week in your mind?
Probably download this list, to be honest. Not even from, any other perspective, but to have it in solitude so you can actually go through it and see what's attainable for you at the moment. Because everyone's at a different stage, and I think it would be irresponsible for me to say, "Oh, just go out and just do it. Just go and do it." Naturally, that's what I think they should do. But realistically, we have to look at where they are at. And if they need to really look at their messaging, maybe that's where they need to start. They don't know what they're going to be talking about. Reach out to someone and just even brainstorm, or book in a session, or whatever that might look like between, their network that's what they need to start with. What is attainable right now that they can action this week? And actually, I will give them one thing that they can do, like after they listen to this. If they want to improve on their GEO and their AEO, get a Bing profile. That's a bit of a like, what? Huh? But ChatGPT does pull a lot of information from Bing, as in the web browser. Um,
Wow.
yeah. Have you got a Bing profile, Kerrie? Okay, well, that's what you're going to be doing after this, right?
Yes, this week.
It's actually very simple too. So all you need to do is jump on the Bing business profile part, and you can actually transfer your Google profile onto um, onto your Bing, and then it's sorted. It takes about 5 minutes. It's really not you don't have to be tech savvy or anything like that, but it does help with that visibility when it comes to generative searches.
Okay, and so where can people actually are best to find you, Sarah?
I'm on probably Instagram the most. That's selfishly just my favorite because it's nice and visual. But that is at I am Sarah Cassim. So nice and easy. Alternatively, if they are on LinkedIn, which I do suggest any entrepreneur to be on LinkedIn these days, it can be actually a very worthwhile platform. You can find me at Sarah Cassim. And otherwise, you can reach out via email, whatever works for them. I'm there to help and have a chat if needed.
And certainly the Hawkesbury Women in Business
Yeah.
Facebook group for networking.
Yes.
And really that, so you don't even have to be in the Hawkesbury for that, really.
Not really. We have people that have joined us because they haven't been able to find their place that are in Western Sydney. We've got people that are popping down from the Central Coast now. It's actually quite phenomenal to see how that culture's grown. And in fact, we've had people that have sought my consulting on how to build that same blueprint of culture, which I mean, we've got a group that's very similar to ours now down in South Australia. There's one up Darwin Way, and it's just wonderful to see how that has sort of played out, which has been really nice.
Yeah,
Um,
it's definitely a very
yeah,
special vibe.
it is a vibe. We're all about the vibes, Kerrie. What can I say?
Well, Sarah, I want to thank you for having a chat with me today and bringing the topic of visibility for soulpreneurs to the fore, because I think it is something that every soulpreneur is challenged with.
Yes. Yep.
But it's a necessary part of building any business. And you certainly opened some really interesting thoughts around where AI is going with finding us, and that whole the messaging thing. And I think if we can get a hold of that, what my sense is if we can really hook into that storytelling and the messaging, it actually makes our visibility far more simpler.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I would like to see all businesses do is simplify and stop listening to all of the noise that they're telling you your posts have got to look like this, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. No, you don't have to post every day. You don't have to do a lot of the things that are being forced down our neck. Please just look at it from a different perspective, and don't be listening to everything and everyone because that's where you'll get stuck in a loop.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. It's been fun. It's always nice to chat with you, Kerrie. It's always a blast.
Yeah, I always love having a chat to you too.